Let's do it.
Okay. So, I know it's been a minute, but welcome back to Verified Therapist.
Guess who's back? Back again.
We took a little break because a lot of life has been happening, and we had to break.
Mm-hmm. Just
Big
a week.
things have been happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and sorry that it took so long for the debut episode to come out. It was like 2 weeks of editing for no reason other than I started a new job and going from seeing like 15 to 20 clients a week to 30 clients a week is a lot different.
It's a big jump, yeah.
Especially note-wise.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah.
We're adjusting.
We only have 2 more episodes of our Taylor Swift journey.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll be done until she releases something else.
What do we think is going to be today? We're down to 2. We're down to Speak Now and Folklore.
I think it's going to be Folklore.
I do too.
But I'm wrong every time. Well, almost every time that I say, so.
Watch the first one, like, right out the jump, be like, Dear John.
And I'll be like, well.
As soon as I press it.
Because whatever happens today will decide what we're doing next week, so.
We're going to end on a big note, so whichever one that is. Those are both, like, top tier albums, so. And we have a Taylor's version of Speak Now. So we have the original and Taylor's version, so.
You know, I saw that I say they, a big they, because I don't know who it is. But there's like a book, like an actual bound book that has all of her lyrics in it as poems. I think I'm going to get one of those to put on my record player stand to kind of just have on there. But I thought it looked cool because it looked like it was just like in a library.
That is really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I need to hang up the rest of my Taylor Swift posters in this room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can put one maybe right here.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, because I meet with clients over here. And so I try to hide the Taylor Swift things from my clients.
Why do you do that?
Because not everyone's a fan. And I don't know if I want all of my clients to know I'm a fangirl. I don't know if they would respect it. I respect it. I love it.
You know the posters that we got for the movie? The pink, like, where she's in the bodysuit? That's in my office. And I'm walking in and I'm like, our co-therapist is here. She's also in attendance. So say what you're going to say in front of Taylor. And I had a client who was literally sitting there and was like, fuck Taylor Swift because of her private jet usage and the fuels and whatever. And I was like, well, there she is. So
let's not get into that. Can Taylor Swift really fly commercial?
Yeah. I was like, let's divert this conversation back to what your problem actually is. It has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. It has to do with your mom who's complaining about Taylor Swift, who you just don't like. So
or your boyfriend who is misogynistic.
Yeah. So anyway, let's call that what it is.
Anyways, so today, I guess, like, to start out, do you want to start out with our highs and lows?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I do. So I guess my highs are going to be over the past couple weeks. Besides this weekend, I've gone to a lake on opposite ends of the state. So I was in Murray at Kentucky Lake, and then I was in my hometown at the lake there, which is Eastern Kentucky. So I was in two
different lakes.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a lot of fun, like, especially getting to spend time with friends and family. I love it. I got to see my aunt, my cousin one weekend that I haven't got to see in a minute. And then 2 of my really good friends, got to see them and celebrate with them a little bit. You know, they got engaged a few weeks ago, so
nice.
Got to celebrate with them, get them a little gift. It was really a gift for Courtney. It was, you know, wine and a card, but, like, you know, Cole's there too. and their dog Mocha is a boxer. And she's crazy. She's like 2 years old. They put a life jacket on her. Homegirl swam for 4 hours straight.
Boxers are wild.
I was like, we would just look over and she'd just be just going. And I was like, she would get out of the water for maybe like 5 minutes every once in a while and then just jump right back in and just take off going everywhere. I was like, how is this dog not tired?
They have so much energy, boxers do.
Yeah, I had a boxer growing up. We got him when I was like 10, somewhere around there. And he was wild.
Yeah.
And he was really not smart. His parents were in like dog shows and all that stuff, so they were like really big, famous boxers.
Yeah.
But he was not smart. I was like, oh no. He was like, there was this table in my family's house, this dining room table, and like the top of the table is here, and then there's like a piece of it underneath that comes down like this. He would get stuck underneath the table. So if he would get under the table, he would hit his head on that piece that was blocking it, and he would just hit his head over and over and over until someone came and got him.
Oh my gosh.
To like push his head down so he could get out from under there. He would just keep going and keep trying. And I was like,
do something different, my guy.
There was one time I don't know what he did, but he was like outside in the yard playing. He got stung by a bee. He was allergic to bees.
That's so sad.
I know. He was allergic to bees. We found this out because, when he came in, we put him in his cage and we went to the store or something like that. We came back. His eyes were swollen shut. I was like 11 at the time.
That give you trauma?
When I saw this, I hit the floor and I was screaming at the top of my lungs because
I bet.
What is wrong with him? Yeah, and then we had to rush him to the vet, and they literally just shot him up with Benadryl, and they were like, "Yeah, you got stung by a bee. He's fine, but he's allergic to bees, so
he's not fine, actually."
I was like, "What? What is wrong with this dog?" It was absolutely terrifying. But anyways, yeah, that's my story, and within a story within a story.
Not boxers.
That started with me going to the lake. Anyways, so my mom's dog is also crazy. Leo.
Is he a boxer too?
No, he is like an Australian Shepherd mix. We don't know what he's mixed with. Mixed with Psycho. I don't know. So he will like randomly like pick people and like bite them.
Oh, okay, good.
Not like hard, but like he will like nip them and stuff. He's just crazy. And he does it too, like he also herds you because it's got that dog in him. He herds you.
Right.
So he'll nip at you, but like sometimes he gets kind of like a little mean with it.
Right,
so, like if he doesn't know you or doesn't recognize you, sometimes he'll just like nip.
He's trying to herd you somewhere.
Like, and I'm like, stop, you're scaring people. They don't know you. And he's like a sweet dog, but like also not that sweet with strangers. So like, he's very protective. So we were at the lake and these people came to get in their car from the boat dock because there's like three where we were at. There's like 3 little docks. And so these people were coming and they were walking to their car. Leo starts barking and then he takes down the hill. He just runs straight down the hill at these people.
That's the worst.
Get the dog. Somebody. Somebody get this dog. And then Leo. And then Barry takes off running after Leo and starts barking at these people, which is really funny because Leo is like an Australian Shepherd and then Barry is like a chunky puggle. Yeah. So like Barry's not intimidating. But Leo's intimidating. Yeah. So then my cousin has to jump over the gate and just takes off sprinting down the hill, which he's a runner. He's a track star. Literally. But
it sounds like an emergency though. Like I would be freaking out.
I was like, he's going to bite these people. They're going to sue us. Like it's going to be a whole thing, Mom. You have to get your dog. You have to. So, yeah.
That's where my brain immediately goes.
Yeah. I was like, this is why we don't bring Millie out here, because I don't know how she's going to act, and I'm not getting sued.
Yeah.
Not that I think that she would attack someone, but
my neighbor that lives across from me, well, he doesn't anymore, but he had, I'm assuming, a girlfriend. He had multiple in the time that he lived here in the short time, but whatever, live your life. But his last girlfriend, she was over, and she would bring, like, it was like an older dog. I don't even know what kind of dog it was, but she never put him on a leash. And we were like in an apartment complex in the middle of the city, and she never put him on a leash. And like, we have tons of dogs who live here. Yeah. Tons of dogs who live here. Always dogs walking outside. And like, Max does not like dogs his size. Like, he likes dogs, like, he's okay with dogs that are smaller than him. He doesn't pay attention to them. But if they're his size, he barks at them. And so, like, I don't think that Max would bite another dog, but I don't want another dog running up on him reacting, and then he's the one in trouble. So, like, there was a couple of times that, like, I don't want to say we had close calls, but, like, one time I was coming up the stairs, and she was like, oh, are you coming up here? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, well, I'll just take him back inside because I don't have a leash for him. And I'm like, why don't you have a leash for your dog? What? We're in the middle of the city.
Yeah. Put your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
And it's like next to a busy road, too.
Yeah. Like one of the busiest roads in Bowling Green.
That's
terrifying. And where we live. I guess I shouldn't have said it. Ooh. Whatever. It's been said on previous podcasts. So one of the busiest roads in town. Then there was a time like she got out, like her and her boyfriend got out here, and I had Max outside, and she opened the car door, and he just jumps out, and he's just out, no leash. And I'm like, please, for your dog's safety and my dog's safety, put everybody on a leash.
Sorry, people are so careless sometimes.
So that was your high. Where's the lakes?
That was my high. Yeah, my low is just, I think, kind of adjusting to my new job. Has been, I don't want to say it's been difficult. It's been fine. But just adjusting to seeing that many clients is kind of exhausting. I forgot how exhausting it is to see that many people in a week. I don't mind it, honestly.
Right. It's just a routine change.
Yeah. Kind of, because, like, for a year, I was going from not working on Fridays at all to, like, well, every once in a while I would work on a Friday. But, yeah, now I'm, like, working all day on Friday. That's a big change.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Going from a 4-day work week to a 5-day work week is big. It's okay, but it's big. It's a big change.
But it's a big change. And, like, our job is, like, I mean, we're not, like, out in the sun. It's not, like, mentally, or, I mean, it's not physically, like, taxing. But mentally, it can feel like that your brain has run a marathon all day when you get done with that many clients.
Yeah. That is true.
It's exhausting.
And I guess my other low is that I did tear a tendon in my ankle.
Oh, yeah. The MRI results are in.
So that's fun.
Are you wearing your boot? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's not. She's saying yes in the microphone, but I can tell you people that she's not. So.
I haven't put it on today. I haven't really been walking.
She's like, I haven't put it on today and really the last 14 days, but it's
fine. I try to wear it around the house, but like, again, it's so uncomfortable. And like, I do wear it. I probably wear it 6 days out of the week.
Yeah.
There's always a day where I have to take a break.
Yeah.
Honestly, it hurts like the ball of my feet too. Like,
I get that. It would get on my nerves.
Yeah. It gets uncomfortable. And then sometimes I forget I have it on, and I'll like go to put my leg up or something and like knock into my other leg, and I have bruises everywhere because of that. So that's fun. But
boot life.
We'll see what they say about the course of action. It might just be physical therapy. I hope it's just physical therapy. But I've met my deductible because I've had to pay so much freaking money.
Well, that's good that you met your deductible. It means you'll get some help now. Insurance, you pay for it, and then you have to pay more. And then at that point, they decide maybe to help you. So
it's like, what is the purpose of me paying an X amount of money a month for you to not cover everything. Like, where is that money going?
Right. Well, and then you have to, like, meet this insane amount, sometimes, like, a deductible. And, okay, why don't we just, like, do a deductible? If that's what we have to do to get any help, then why don't we just have the deductible and not take it out every month? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The healthcare system in America.
Let's go into your highs and lows.
My low is a pretty obvious one if anybody ever has talked to me or knows me. So I had a death in my family the week before last. And for anybody who doesn't know, like, I live a few hours away from home. I live 3 hours north of, or I'm from 3 hours north from where I live now. And I work an hour north from where I live now. So on Monday of that week, I got a call from my mom that they were calling all the family in for my grandpa. I drove an hour south back to where I live to get Max, take him to the borders, and then I drove back north 2.5 hours to get to the hospital. And so my grandpa ended up dying that afternoon. I drove back 2.5 hours that night, and then I was just traveling the whole week. So when you lose somebody, like, the week of, like, the funeral and stuff like that, it just feels like such a, like, an out of, like, you're not in your element because you're not working, you're not, like, doing your normal stuff, you're kind of, like, dealing with grief and stuff. And it's, like, even weirder when you're, like, 3 hours from where you're used to being. So I really just felt disassociated for my whole life. So now I'm trying to, like, get back into the swing of, like, working in my life, while also just dealing with normal grief. And it's, like, really hard to, like, get back into that routine. It's been a lot of readjusting this past week. Like, work is tiring anyways, but work, like, really wore me out just because it was just a lot. But it's been fine. It's just been getting back into the routine of things and stuff like that. But
and I'm so sorry about your grandpa.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's really strange, but I guess my high of that, like, my high is kind of tied into that, in that, like, I don't get to see my family as much as I would like to, just because I do live a few hours away, and I think it's brought my family a little bit closer together, just because they've had to kind of do a lot of stuff together. You know, there's now my grandpa and my grandma are both gone, so, like, they're having to do a lot with, like, the house, and then my grandpa was, like, a farmer, so, like, he had a huge farm that they have to kind of figure out. And so it's kind of, like, taken that stress, because my grandpa's last 6 months were very stressful on everybody. It's kind of taken that stress off of my whole family and off of him. You know, he's not suffering anymore. And so that's kind of helped bring everybody, I think, kind of closer, which is kind of weird to say probably, but I was glad to be there and be with all of them. So I guess that's my high, is just getting to be with my family, who I forget how much I love them until I'm with them, and then I'm not with them anymore, you know?
Yeah. And getting to see people that, like, you don't get to see often is good too.
Yeah.
Getting to, like, catch up and all of those things.
Yeah. It was a bittersweet thing for sure, but I'm just hoping now I can get back into, like I said, working. And another high is, like, I'm getting some help. We've hired a few people, thank God, for my counties, so I can get some help. I won't be the only adult provider anymore. And my seniority has kind of allowed me to be like, okay, what don't I want to carry anymore? So I'm able to kind of pick and choose what I'm carrying now. So that's another high, is that I'm going to finally get some help. So we'll see.
Good people in your life.
Yeah. I have a lot of good people in my life. That's the only thing that carries us through hard stuff, is the really good people that we have. So
it's very true. I know when my grandma passed away in 2018, I got to see, like, cousins and aunts and uncles that I haven't got to see, because my family is spread out all over the country, like East Coast to West Coast. Like, one of my cousins lives in San Francisco, and then my brother lives in Maryland, and then I have Texas and aunts and uncles in South Carolina. Like, everybody's really spread out all over the place. So it's good that's one good thing, is like brings everyone together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I hadn't seen some of my cousins in like 5-6 years before then.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, you know.
Yeah, but life like takes over, and it's hard. It's hard to make trips. And then, I mean, plane tickets from San Francisco to Kentucky, ridiculous.
Expensive, yeah.
So
it's definitely not in therapist budget.
I guess like when I went to visit my brother in DC, and I flew out of Nashville. Like, that was the cheapest flight I think I've ever got, but that was just because that was a national airport that I flew into, not an international one. Because those international airports are ridiculous. It's insane. I
don't even know how much our plane tickets were to New York, but we flew into JFK, so I'm sure. I don't remember how much they were, but
LaGuardia.
We should have, and you know what? LaGuardia was boarding right before us, so you know what? We should have just flown into LaGuardia.
See,
probably wouldn't have had to walk across the freaking whole continent to get my fucking bags either when that happened. I'm sure LaGuardia is a little smaller than JFK.
Yeah. I'm thinking the next time we make a trip to LA, we should fly into Burbank.
Yeah.
We're manifesting going back to LA. Have you ever been?
No.
Oh, so we're manifesting doing a podcast something in LA.
Oh shit. Imagine me in LA.
We get free plane tickets into Burbank.
Yeah. Free drivers, free like baggage people, just the whole thing.
And
when we're
James
famous.
Kennedy lives next to Burbank Airport, so
yeah. James Kennedy is DJing for us as we get off the plane.
Yeah. Ariana and Katie meet us with something about her sandwiches.
So true. So true.
Because they do have gluten-free bread, so.
Oh, so they're friendly to you, to your people.
They are. Love it. What if Taylor invites us to the Eras tour?
She probably already is. Like, she's probably going to be listening to this episode being like, girls, just you wait. I've got something in store for you guys.
Oh, Taylor. Just invite us to Indianapolis. We'll be there.
My sweet, sweet Taylor.
Okay,
here we go. I think it's going to be folklore.
I think it's going to be folklore, too.
Okay. Let's see. I'm scared.
I know. Here we go.
See? How did we know that we were going to be wrong? Welcome to Speak Now.
Welcome to Speak Now, which holds a very dear place in my heart, especially Speak Now Taylor's version, because I got the announcement at my concert. I was not expecting that. Screamed at the top of my lungs. So,
did I send you that picture of when I was going through my CDs in my car, and somebody had given me the burned Speak Now?
No.
CD. So somebody in my life at some point, don't know who it was, has given me a burned. You know, back in the day, we had to burn CDs. Anybody who doesn't know, we didn't have Spotify on our phones. We didn't have this access to it, so we had to illegally get the music from a LimeWire. Then you had to put it on, or iTunes legally, but then you had to put it on a burn.
You have to pay for each individual song or pay for the album.
Right. So then you would have to like burn the CD on a blank CD. I remember we would get, in my household, we would get the big sleeves of the blank CDs because I would have so many burned CDs. But anyways, somebody had given me a burned Speak Now CD and put a star next to all of their favorite songs.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know who it was in my life that did that, but it's still in my car years later.
So this album holds a dear place in my heart, not only because I saw the Taylor's version announcement, but because one of my first breakups, I sat on my floor and played Last Kiss over and over.
Oh my god. It's the saddest one. It's the saddest song.
Yeah. So, if my ex didn't know about that, he knows about it now.
Yeah.
I also savagely, because we broke up a million times, broke up with him in December. And then sent him back to December in January.
No. No.
Do it for the plot. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do that. Oh no. It was that was savage, Kate. That was
not
really
back
savage.
to December. And he probably wasn't even Taylor Lautner level quality.
Oh no.
He probably didn't deserve back to December.
No. But he got Taylor Lautner level, so in my brain, back my 15-year-old self brain. Anyways, what a fucking drama queen. Anyways. So, this album, I think, is like such a staple moment for Taylor because she had won Album of the Year at the Grammys for Fearless. And then she got all of this press and people saying like, well, you don't even write your own music, even though she wrote pretty much the whole album by herself. She was like, they were like, you are just a young whatever, and was just saying all this about her and discrediting her writing capabilities. So she turns around and writes an entire album by herself.
Yeah.
She was like, you want to talk shit? Okay, here we go.
And here is born Speak Now. Speak Now, like when I listen to it, it sounds young because she was young and I was young, but I think that's part of the charm of Speak Now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's why I love it so much.
Before Speak Now's release, Big Machine had shipped 2 million copies of the album to stores in the US. 2 million. And then by November 13th, 2010, the album debuted at number 1 on Billboard. And the first week sales were 1 million, over 1 million copies. So it marked the highest single week tally for a female artist and became the first album since Lil Wayne's The Carter 3 to sell over 1 million copies in the first week. Which just shows like the time period.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, Lil Wayne.
You remember The Carter 3? Like that.
Oh, I remember The Carter 3, yes.
Oh my god. That was the one that, didn't it? Oh gosh. Well, The Carter 3, did that have Nicki Minaj on it?
I think it did.
No, Nicki Minaj was on the kind of like rockier
the one after that.
Yeah.
Because they had that song. She says something about a bucket in the song.
But,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. But that was like the first time we had heard of Nicki Minaj. I know we're getting sidetracked, but like
we're just trying to paint a picture of the times is what's happening. Knockout. That was what the song was called.
Yes, I knew. It was like his like Rocky album that came out in like what, 2009? I think that was.
So was that like right after the Carter 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen.
Such a good time of music. Like,
it really was.
They just don't make them like they did when we were kids anymore.
No, I mean, we were jamming out to Lollipop during this time period, which we probably shouldn't have been.
I'm about to say wildly inappropriate, but it's fine.
You know?
We had Pop, Lock, and Drop It.
Yeah. There were so many just like dance songs that came out. And by dance, I think we mean grinding. So
yeah.
So then, like, we needed a little spice up from the grinding music to Taylor Swift.
To Taylor Swift,
where we cry the whole time.
Yeah, especially if you've heard Dear John.
Yeah, this album is. I mean, it's a very vulnerable album, and it's definitely like an album that goes through a lot of different stages of grief as well, which we've talked about Taylor doing stages of grief.
Yeah.
Phenomenally. It holds one of my favorite songs, which isn't only Last Kiss, but If This Was a Movie.
That's such a good song.
I almost said If We Were a Movie, but that's a Hannah Montana song.
It's so easy. I get them confused every time. Which, If We Were a Movie, also a banger.
If we were a movie,
you'd be the right guy. That is not Taylor's version. That's not Taylor. I'm gonna be honest, like, I didn't really appreciate that song until Taylor's version. Like, I didn't listen to Speak Now a ton until Taylor's version came out. And again, that was like it was with Fearless with me, where I was like, it wasn't my favorite, and then I somehow know every single song on there, so I'm a liar. But I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have back when it came out.
Yeah. So there was a YouTube group. So it was twin sisters. And I cannot remember their name, but they would cover just like different songs. And so this was like the time on YouTube when people would cover songs and they would just like post it to YouTube. And they covered that song. And they did such a good job with it. They had like the harmonies and like all of this stuff. Like, it was so good, and it made me appreciate the song. So I would go back and forth between listening to their version, because they also put it out on iTunes, and then that version. And then they also added, oh my gosh, there was like another band that added like music over top of that too, and they like covered it as well. There was a lot of like covers of this song that made me like really appreciate it. And it's kind of like, I mean, it's not, I think she made it a vault track, right? Did she?
Well, no, she didn't.
No, she added, because it was on the deluxe album. So there was Speak Now, which is like her in the purple dress. And then there was the deluxe, which is her in the same cover, but red. Yeah. Which I think was a Easter egg to Red. Which is like, again, Taylor doing Easter eggs from the freaking beginning.
Now that we like know that that's how she operates, 100% that was an Easter egg.
This album came out October 25th, 2010. I was a freshman in high school.
I was
What year did you graduate?
2012. So I was like
I
was a junior, yeah.
She wrote this album entirely by herself to prove those critics wrong. And this was like her album that was kind of like the showing her transition from being a kid and being this young artist to being an adult. Because we have Never Grow Up, which is like pretty much just a song about her moving to New York and feeling kind of lost too, and kind of being like, well, I want to sleep with the nightlight on. I want my mom to tuck me in. And it is a song that like I listened to a lot my first year of college, because I was just like, I just want to be in my hometown.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I remember looking on, you know, Instagram and Facebook and everything, and like people who didn't go to college, like away, and they would be home, or even if they did go away, a lot of people only went like an hour away from home. So like they would be going home every weekend, and they would be spending time with their family, and like all the friends would still be together. And I would just be like, well, I can't go home every weekend because I live 3.5 hours away.
Same.
That's
yeah.
impossible. Feel that disconnect. And it makes you be like, well, now I just feel like a little kid, and I just want to turn a nightlight on and do all this stuff. Because my roommate kind of like, also did that. She lived like 30 minutes away from her hometown. So she would also go home every weekend, and I would just be there by myself being like, this is a big scary room.
It is like that song I feel like perfectly encapsulates like, because I had the same kind of experience. Like, I'm 3 hours away from home. I didn't know anybody that I went to school with. Like, I moved completely on my own. And so, like, my mom and my stepdad moved me into my dorm. And they were like, okay, like, we're going home. And so, like, they kind of walked out of the room. And I was just kind of like, now what? You know? And this tiny, tiny dorm room feels really big. and like empty, because you're just kind of like, okay, like now my whole life as I know it is like hours away, and it's scary at the time, but like I listen to that song now and I'm like, what a special time, you know? That was the beginning of everything for me, you know?
Yeah. And I think that was the beginning of everything for her too, you know? Because I mean, on this album, like, not only did we get like Never Grow Up, but on the other hand, we got Innocent, which is also kind of like of the same vein of like, yes, that's about Kanye West and like what he did to Taylor the year before at the VMAs, but it's also like a song like, it's okay that you're in your 30s and you haven't fully grown up yet, like you still feel like a little kid.
Innocent 100%. Last week I was in the car and I heard that and I teared up, because it's just like it's an emotional song to me, you know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it is a song that's like, well, she says that like 32 and still growing up now, but like who you are is not what you did. She kind of like offered him this forgiveness. This was before Taylor's Karma era and all of this stuff.
As soon as you said that, my brain did a parallel to The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Because she's like, who you are is not what you did. But in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, she's like, you are what you did.
Because I think that like the older you get, the more like she said, I think she said kind of like similar to this in Peter as well. Like it's not cute. Like the older you get and the more you just want to fuck around and just kind of like have relationships without having relationships and do all this stuff. Like it just, at some point it gets not cute.
Right. Because we're
like
kind of
older. Like the older you get, the more you want to play games, the less fun it is. And the more you're like, okay, fuck off if you're going to act like this. And so I think like this was showing her, because I mean, she does this in Dear John too. Like this person hurt her and she's still like, well, I guess like, let's just offer forgiveness. Let's offer forgiveness for this.
This kind of naivete.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Naivete? This naive kind of thought process of like, well, we can offer this forgiveness, and then like there's still, maybe I'm just cynical, but like there's like still this finding the good in everybody's spirit, which I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but versus now where she's like, you've shown me who you are and I'm kind of done with that.
Yeah. Because I can feel like, I mean, she was 19, 20 when she wrote this album too. So I think like she was still kind of out there, like looking at the world, like everyone's a good person. Everyone has good in them. Yeah. And it's kind of like the older you get, the more you're like, maybe that's not true. Maybe some people are just bad people and we should completely distance ourselves from them.
Right. And I think, like, really the transformation for her probably took place with the Kanye West thing, because, like, even after that happened, she did extend forgiveness and communication to him and Kim Kardashian. It was like, we're just going to move on. And then they went and did the same thing again. And that's where I think we see her turn to, like, you know what? Maybe not. Kind of almost that switch flip for her in her reputation.
Yeah, because she said this in an interview during, like, the Lover era, too. She was like, you don't have to forgive and you don't have to forget. I was like, damn, girl. Yeah. She's like, you don't have to do any of that to move on and be happy with your own life. I was like, okay, get it, girl. Yeah. So I do like the young, especially in like the OG Taylor's version, like her young voice and the shaky breath and Last Kiss. And
oh gosh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many like little pieces of this where I'm just like, yes, you're 19 and 20, but I still look at that age as like you're a kid, because you are fresh out of your parents' house. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't understand the world completely yet.
Right.
Like hearing that young voice. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It takes me back to being 19 or 20 and being a kid, you know, and seeing the world in almost these like colored glasses, you know?
Yeah. I mean, her writing is just so beautiful. Like, I can't get over the fact that she was 19 years old and wrote this entire album by herself. Like, who the hell does that? And like, it is, let's see. So there is 14 songs on the original one, which a lot of those songs are well over 4 minutes. Like, Dear John is 6 minutes and 43 seconds, and Last Kiss is 6 minutes and 7 seconds. So we have 2 6-minute songs on there. And then we have, those are the original 14, and then we have Ours, If This Was a Movie, Superman, and then a few of the like acoustic versions of it. So like technically there's 17 songs on this original album.
Crazy. And we have 2, I think it's just 2, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 men circulating in this album, right? So we've got Taylor Lautner and John Mayer.
Well, 3, because Last Kiss is about Joe Jonas.
Oh yeah, I forget about that. So we got a lot of feelings happening.
Yeah, which is like, Last Kiss is, I mean, talked about it, it's one of my favorite songs, but it is like a song that I think was written a couple years after that whole situation happened. Yeah. So maybe it's her kind of like looking back, or maybe she wrote it during that time and it didn't have a place on Fearless. So she was like, I'm going to hold off on putting this out. And I think that's kind of what it was. I don't know, Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's what it was.
All right, Taylor, let us know.
Yeah. But I really, that song has so many visuals in it.
Yeah.
She really, there's pretty much all of these songs. She paints such a good visual of everything. Yeah. But really in like Last Kiss, like that July 9th, The Beat of Your Heart, you know, I Can Still Feel Your Arms, Ran Off the Plane, like just like all of these big things and these big moments, and you're like, oh, I can picture this in my mind. It's like I'm reading a book, right? And I can just picture this moment, these moments happening. Like you can picture, you know, like with the bridge and everything, which, oh my god, yeah. So that group that I was talking, those 2 twins, they covered this song as well, and then another boy band covered it with them. So then it was like male and female voices blended together, and it was stunning.
You listened, Voice Avenue covered the song too.
Yes. So it was them, and then they did it with these 2 girls, and they're twins. So
I vaguely remember that.
Versions of it. Yeah.
Now, Voice Avenue, I love Voice Avenue. Nobody ever come for Voice Avenue ever in life because I love them. But I feel like I vaguely remember them covering, well, I always remember them covering the song, but like with the twins as well. Yeah.
Gosh, I can't. Megan
and
Liz. Megan and Liz.
There it is. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I don't know if they still put out like music or anything, but like they had some pretty good music back then. So.
Yeah, what are y'all doing now?
They did a lot of covers. Like a few years ago, I went and looked to see if there was any of their old covers on YouTube, and there was. So I just like sat there and listened to all of their covers. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's so good. Just reliving my 2010, 2011.
Again, back in the day when like we were all over YouTube, and that's was our connection to the world.
Yeah. And like, I know the kids are on YouTube now, but we were listening to YouTube. We weren't watching people play video games.
No. We weren't watching little 5-year-old unbox their toys that they got for Christmas.
No, we were watching stupid, funny videos and
and Voice Avenue and Megan and Liz cover Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah, but another song that has like very good visuals in it is "Speak Now." Just the title track.
Yes.
because you can picture it. And like people have said this too, like they remember a music video of Speak Now.
Mm-hmm.
There's like that whole Mandela effect visual. And like
Yeah.
I can kind of remember that too, but I also think in some ways it was just
Her writing.
pictures. No,
Yeah.
it was just pictures. Like they
Mhm.
did a whole photo shoot of just Speak Now. And I think people have like in their brains morphed it into, it was an actual music video, but I think they did pictures of
Mhm.
pretty much like each scene.
Yeah.
Like you can see it. And Speak Now is about kind of like running in on the love of your life's wedding day and being like, no, pick me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, it's so cute. And she said that she wrote that for one of her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of her friends, like exes, was getting married.
Uh-huh.
And was it about Hayley Williams? Why do I feel like it was about Hayley Williams?
I'm Googling this because this is about Hayley Williams and that's an emergency.
We got an emergency.
We have an emergency.
If you don't know that, then like grow up, people. Listen to Paramore.
Everybody's saying it's about Emma Stone, but that's it's not right. We're not talking about the song Speak Now.
We're not talking about when Emma falls in love. We're talking
right. Okay, here we go. It's rumored to be about Hayley Williams, so it is an emergency.
I told you.
I wonder who was getting married because she dated.
She dated a few older men.
She did, and then she dated the front. What was that band? Hold on. Newfound Glory. She dated their lead singer for like a hot minute. So,
yeah. So for those of you who don't know, so Hayley Williams,
who is the other hero of my life,
who is also on Taylor's version of this album, so she's relevant to talk about. She is the lead singer of Paramore, and she was living in Nashville with Taylor, and her and Taylor met.
Yeah,
because they were at some kind of like music party. And Andrea walked up to Hayley and was just like, hey, my daughter doesn't know anyone here. Would you want to go and hang out with my daughter and like talk to her and blah, blah, blah. So then that's how they became friends.
And it's freaking Hayley Williams because like,
I know.
Around this time I was also in my emo phase, which is surprising that I was listening to Speak Now in my emo phase. But I had so many. Yeah. I had so many Paramore posters up in my wall, up in my room. My hair dye. Hopefully nobody has pictures of me around this time. But my hair dye situation was always copied off of Hayley Williams. I was convinced I was going to get a septum piercing because of Hayley Williams. So, I mean, I didn't get one because I'm not brave enough. But I was going to back in the day. So, like, just the fact that they were friends.
It's really funny to, like, see them in pictures, especially because you got, like, short little Hayley with her, like, bright orange or red hair, whatever she had going on during those times. And then, like, Taylor with her curly blonde hair. Yeah. Super tall and lanky. And they're just, like, they look like two completely different, like, people that would hang out. But they said, like, I remember her talking and saying, like, she connected with Taylor because they came from very, like, similar backgrounds, too. But they were also, like, women thrown into, well, really, like, kids thrown into the music industry in Nashville, which at the time was not respectful to women. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and they both have, like, this enormous talent. You know, like, Hayley Williams' voice is insane. And even now, like, Hayley Williams, you know, Paramore opened for the Eras Tour for a few, well, I'll say a couple months. I don't know how long exactly. But
they're still
Hayley. Opening. Oh, are they still opening?
Yeah, they're opening for all of Europe.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So, Hayley shows how long it's been since I've been on a Granny live stream. but Hayley Williams went out and performed Castles Crumbling with Taylor, and you can just tell that there's just like this closeness about them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another song, which is on Taylor's version.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another song that I just think paints like such a picture, which makes me like really pissed off at Scott Borchetta that he would not allow her to call this album Enchanted, because it is like, it just reminds me of like a fairy tale book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that fits the vibe. I mean, I love that it's Speak Now, but like, I just feel like Enchanted just fits the vibe so much more, because it is just this like sparkly,
like magical
album. And so like Castles Crumbling is about the Kanye West thing that happened, and kind of like how depressed she got after that whole thing happened, of just kind of like she felt like she was on top and she was flying, and like then she was like, well, I guess I was flying too high because someone came and just
pulled me down.
Yeah. And it's so sad, and like Hayley Williams' voice just fits so well,
seamlessly. Yeah.
Again, like that, I think that goes back to like the time period, because I feel like that was 2010 was around the time when Paramore was so big. So when she did Taylor's version, I think she pulled back to like bands that were big at that time, and that's why we have Fall Out Boy on this album.
Yes,
because Fall Out Boy was huge in 2010.
We were all going through our emo phase together.
And I love Electric Touch. I keep that song on my summer playlist because it's such a good one.
It's just such a good summer song.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I keep like skipping around. I feel like my ADHD is like really coming out, but
they're just all so good. It's hard to like, not
and
do
so,
that.
To go back to that story of like the Scott Borchetta thing, which is it. So she had a meeting with Scott Borchetta, and they were talking, and she wanted to name the album Enchanted, and he felt that was too childish, and it would never sell because that's too childish to name an album that. So she went to the bathroom. She said that she was pretty distraught, and then she came back out, and she was like, "What about Speak Now?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so now she gets to make all of those executive decisions for herself, because her label trusts her no matter what she does. I feel like, again, like just, I don't know, like Enchanted is just such a more fitting, I'll go to my grave with that one.
Which I wonder if that's why the only Speak Now, except for Long Live for a little bit, but I wonder if that's why the only Speak Now song that we get is Enchanted. Like, I wonder if, like, which Enchanted, it's a big song on its own, but I'm just, like, wondering if, like, that's a message that she's, like, trying to send back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good one. I wonder.
Yeah.
I've thought that for a while, too, because I'm just, like, like, why is that the only song from Speak Now? Like, you would think, like, maybe if she was doing just one song, it would be the title track. No. And I think, like, Enchanted did have its, like, its big one.
You really did your big one out there.
You really did your big one out there, Enchanted. Also, Leah being a Swiftie is just everything I need in my life.
The biggest Swiftie.
Love it. Yeah, so Enchanted did have its big moment on TikTok. So, like, I think when she was planning for the tour, I think she saw that because it was going around as, like, a sound on TikTok. Really popular. So that might also be a play into it, but I also think it is a nod at Scott Borchetta to be like, look at you.
Yeah. And like because like, and who knows, Speak Now could have been one of the most ultimate, like, I don't trust you things. Like, and I'm saying that because this is coming right after Kanye West thing. This is coming right after she felt like that this whole crowd was booing her at the VMAs, you know? And then your label turns around and won't even let you name your album.
She felt like she didn't have any control.
Right. So maybe that's why, like, we don't have anything from it except for Enchanted and Long Live, you know? Which I think Long Live we get because I think that was about the fans. But Enchanted has a permanent spot. And maybe that's why.
I think it's like, it's ironic that the album is called Speak Now, but like she felt like she couldn't speak up during this time either. So like it sounds like it's very like she pushes down a lot of things, like a lot of emotions, and like we were talking about at the beginning, like instead of coming out and being like, well, F you, Kanye, like why did you do that to me? Why did you ruin my life? We hear the I forgive you part of this. And
trying to take the high road.
Yeah, and I think it's also very telling of like, I think, and this is just my personal opinion because I don't know Scott Borchetta, but from everything I've heard, he has some narcissistic tendencies. So I think that like he saw, oh, she wrote this entire album by herself and she wants to name it.
Yeah.
No, we're going to take some of that power and control away from her. So I'm going to veto that she wants it to be called Enchanted.
Right.
I don't know if that's true, but just based on like patterns that I know from narcissistic behavior, it's all about power and control over another person, and like maybe he felt like she had too much control, and he wanted to take some of that power away. Yeah, which is really sad because I mean she was a 19, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, and she had already had at that point a very public display of like stripping something from her, you know? So it's like
let's bring her down even more.
When really like her label should have really backed her up and instilled that trust in her even more after that incident, you know? I wonder like how, like if we had 19 years old Taylor now and Kanye did that now, I wonder what the response would be. Because I feel like not a ton of progress, right? I still feel like women in, you know, especially women in the music industry are still not treated the best. But like I have seen since the Me Too movement, especially, just a slow progression of like women standing up and like more people being vocal about certain things. I just wonder how the response would have been.
Yeah.
Back then, you know?
I don't know. I feel like cancel culture is like so big now that I don't know if Kanye would have recovered from that, to be honest.
Right. But that's just an aside.
Sucks for him.
Yeah. Sucks to suck. He never really did recover, if we're being honest.
No. Especially not after like the 2016 famous thing. Like,
no.
I haven't heard shit about his new album that he dropped last Friday either. So,
no.
Like, no one gives a... Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna stop. Anyways. Also another song on there that I feel like goes along with this kind of like enchanting theme of this album is Timeless.
I was about to say the same thing. I love Timeless.
Oh, it's like, so good.
It's like a good like car concert, singing along in the car.
I mean, it kind of like has the Mary song vibe of it too, and the Starlight.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of like vibes too of kind of like you're in a relationship and you're looking back on like all these years that you've spent together, and like it goes through different time periods and everything of like all of this, and it's just kind of like we're timeless. Like even in, you know, the 19 whatever she says, like we would have still been together and things still would have gone this way, and I just think it's so beautiful to hear that, and and I think it shows her hopeless romantic side too of
I do too.
Like just like Mary's song of like that like hope that I have this long lasting relationship that can last for decades and centuries and get through everything together. Well, let's talk about Foolish One, because that was my theme song for my entire college experience.
Oh god, I just started playing it by accident. Sorry everybody, don't copyright us. Nobody copyright us.
Yeah, so I mean, Foolish One is basically like you are in a situationship with someone who doesn't care about you at all.
And you're a little delulu about it.
You're a little delulu. You're kind of like waiting around by your phone. You're, you know, you're kind of like the part where she says, I'll block out the voices of reason in my head. And the voices say, you are not the exception. You will never learn your lesson.
Okay, you're
Do you know
delulu.
how many times I've said that, like, to myself, especially in college in those relationships, being like, oh, I'm the exception.
It's fine.
He's going to cancel all of his plans to come and hang out with me.
They're going to change. I can change him.
Yes, I can fix him. No, really, I can't.
I can.
Yeah, and then you just like check your phone and blah, blah, blah. And I remember I used to be like, I'm just going to delete his number because when I delete his number, he texts me all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time I do that, he does it because I feel like he knows that I've deleted his number. And it literally worked every single time. But that's still my delusional brain of being like, he's just
I'm going to like put my phone on Do Not Disturb so that I'm not like looking and checking, even though I'm still fucking checking. But like, I'm just not getting the notification, you know?
And then it's like also like, you play like over coffee every morning while you're watching the news and, you know, all of this stuff. Like maybe when we're older, we'll laugh about this, you know, all of this, like kind of like literally building up a relationship in your head that's probably never going to happen, but you're still just like, because they give you, what does she say in here? Okay. You give me just enough attention to keep my hopes too high.
Ain't that like a man, Taylor?
Literally. And that's so freaking true about these like situationships of like,
it's like breadcrumbing.
And so I don't know how many times like you could literally give me like a hello, and in my brain would be like, oh my god, he's back to being in love with me.
That's
and
it.
It's like, bitch, what? You are crazy. But like that's, you know, sometimes when all you want is that love and attention, like that is enough to keep you going.
You know, that also ties in, not that everything comes back to the Tortured Poets Department, but yes, it does. And that also ties into like one of my favorite lines from the Tortured Poets Department. And when she's singing My Boy Only Brings His Favorite Toys, and she's like, just say when, I'll play again. Just tell me. Just give me a cue, and then it's off to the races, and I'm done. Yeah.
And she was like, she also said in that, like, I felt more when we'd play pretend than with all the Ken dolls.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know why? Because it was toxic.
Because we were being love bombed.
Love bombing feels like that.
Yeah.
Tay.
I would also like to take this moment to say fuck Maddie Healy, but we'll go back to speak now.
Oh my gosh. Taylor, if you're listening, I hope you laughed at that part. So
Taylor, I know that you're listening to this and you're like, yeah.
To go back to like the OG songs, so one of the songs that like I used to listen to on repeat was Haunted.
Haunted is so good too. Like, I love her, obviously I like her OG version, but I like her piano version, I think, the most. Love that.
Gosh. It's like, so it's like a song that like has so many instrumentals to it. And then when you like slow it down and put it on piano, you hear the like kind of like desperation in her voice of just like, are you like
this
really
person
gone?
is, like this person's like leaving and she's like pulling at strings and begging like, please don't leave me like this.
Yeah. Because she's like, you and I walked a very thin line. I've known it. And that goes back to kind of like the foolish, like delusional side of things of like, I knew that this wasn't going to last. But like now that it's actually like, now that I can see that the line is snapped, I can't like let go. And I'm like holding on by my fingertips because I'm just like, you can't leave me like this.
Yeah. And I think Haunted is also, like you were talking about earlier, a song that just, like, paints a picture. Because, like, I'm reading through the lyrics of it now, and just, like, it's getting dark, and it's all too quiet, and I can't trust anything now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, like, this dark... It just feels like she's, like, in this dark room, like, alone, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I just think, like, again... I just feel like every single song on here paints such a good visual. Like, we go to Mine, that tells an entire story about
it does.
a relationship from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Sparks Fly gives you a visual of, like, this is my fantasy of what I want us to be doing right now. Back to December paints a relationship from beginning to end, and, like, an I'm sorry type deal as well. Speak Now obviously paints the picture of, you know, crashing a wedding.
Yeah.
Dear John goes from beginning to end again of a relationship. And Dear John it's really funny because Dear John is, like, if you know this, like, Dear John letters are essentially, like, letters that women would write in the military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of like that's what they're called, is Dear John letters. So, like, this is literally a letter to this person of, like, I'm going to give you the visual of our relationship and how it ended and why I'm not picking up the phone anymore because I finally caught on that you're a horrible person. But it's also funny because obviously this is about John Mayer. So,
yeah.
It's like...
So it just so happened about John Mayer.
I mean, it literally Mean is a whole story. The story of us. Just every single song on this. Again, fuck you, Scott Borchetta, because this song, this album should have been called Enchanted.
Yeah, because it was like, it's like we're living in, like, these storybooks. Every song is a storybook.
I just love this album. And Superman, come on. I hear Superman all the time in the grocery store.
Yeah.
That is, like, such a grocery store song. I don't know why grocery stores have, like, picked up on this song and just played it, but, like, it's not even one of her, like, most popular songs, but like, grocery stores, like, have you heard it in a grocery store?
I have, in, like, a Kroger. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. What did I say the other day? I heard My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys.
Yes.
And what the fuck? And I was
like, what the fuck is that about? Like, you're gonna have me in the produce aisle crying? Like, what is that about? Why are y'all playing this stuff in the grocery store?
Josh was not understanding why I was freaking out. He was like, yeah, it's Taylor Swift. Like, she's everywhere. And
this isn't a single.
This isn't a single. This is like just a song off the new album. Like, you don't understand. This would be like literally playing like The Black Dog right now. And like, he was like, I don't understand the reference. And I'm like, okay.
What happened is someone who is just like me, it's like me in another life, works at the Kroger and controls the music and was like having a rough breakup that day. And they're like, you know what? Throw that on there.
Literally. There was, so when I worked at Sally's, we had like a little radio that we would play. And they would switch it back and forth between country and like pop radio and everything.
Yeah.
And that was actually the first time that I heard Peter Pan by Kelsey Ballerini.
Oh, and such a good song.
Whenever it would come on, I would just like turn up the radio and just like blast it throughout the whole store. And just like, if I was by myself, I would just be singing along to it.
It's such a good, such a good freaking song.
Yeah. And like people would be like, why is the music so loud? It's like, sorry, jamming out to Kelsey.
Yeah. You should be thanking me. Have you heard this?
Like, have you heard the song? The song is really fucking good.
It is so good.
Whatever. I was really mad. Week. I was like, can I bring my speaker in? And my boss was like, no. And I was like, why? And she was like, you would literally only play Taylor Swift. And I was like, yeah. And what's the fucking issue with that, ma'am? She was like, I can't have people crying in my store. And I was like, okay.
Well, Kroger has me crying when I'm buying cereal, so what's the difference?
Literally, and I was just like walking up and down the aisles and I was just like singing along. I was just say what, and Josh was like walking away from me. And I was like, oh, listen to this part. Listen at the build up. And Josh was like,
okay. And actually, if I'm going to Sally's and about to make a really life-changing hair dye decision, Taylor Swift is the exact person that I need to have on in the background. So,
exactly. Come on.
Justice for Kate at the Sally's.
Oh my gosh, seriously, justice for me there. That was a traumatic job. It was so fucking traumatic. Never again. I've learned a lot since working there.
Well, I hope never. I mean, now you're a licensed individual who has the choice to do therapy or go to Sally's, so I hope you don't go back to Sally's, but unless that's your calling, I mean, not to sound unsupportive, if you really want to go back to Sally's, you can.
No, thank you. I literally, started working there again when my first semester of grad school, and I lasted 2 months before I quit again. Because I was like, I can't do this again. Yeah. There's just so many rude people. There was... I'm not going to talk about it. I have, so many horror stories from that place. You would get verbally and physically assaulted there. It's fucking Sally's.
At the it's not that serious.
No, I had a grown-ass man, throw a box at me. Because he was mad that the color stripper that he bought his wife made her hair ugly. And made her
That sounds like a you problem.
I was like, well, first of all, I don't know why you're calling your wife ugly. And second of all, it's a color stripper. It's supposed to strip the color out. And then you put hair dye over it. Whatever color you want.
Tell your wife to go to a professional.
Yeah, I was like, and I kind of, that's why I say I've learned things, because I've said it just like that, and that's why I got a box thrown at me. So. I was like, I don't think you should be calling your wife ugly, but okay.
Listen, we were talking about this before we started recording. Kate is the fiercest advocate in the world. If you have Kate on your side, you can't go wrong.
If you need a man to be read to filth, just let me know. I will pull out my Leah. Yeah. And now you're sitting in three home. You're still here, bitch, in your overalls. Now what?
Oh, so funny.
So good. Anyways, so speaking of breeding people to filth, let's talk about Better Than Revenge.
Better Than Revenge is such a good song, and I hope everyone knows that I connect to this song on a deep level. And I also love that she did this in Reputation too, where she kind of reads someone to filth, but she's also insulting them by being like, these are all the bad things about you, but also you're acting like a child. Because she makes everything sound so childish in the song.
And she also talks about the person in the song, because I mean technically this is about Joe Jonas too, so we got two songs about Joe Jonas. Yeah. So it's basically Joe Jonas is like a toy on the playground. Which I'm just like, she called this man an object, which is ironic because women are called objects all the time. So
24/7. Yeah.
So okay, go Tay-Tay. But they call it the slut shaming song, because it's there's one part of it that's just well, she's better known for the things that she does on the mattress. Yeah. And it's well, if the shoe fits. What? No, I'm kidding. We don't slut shame here, I swear.
Listen, I'm just going to quote Harry Styles and saying it's a sign of the times. That wasn't as big of a deal back then. She changed it in her Taylor's version so everyone can calm down. Yeah. But also, if I'm a little pissed off, I'm saying some shit. So, yeah. Let's be real about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true. It's it's kind of like a song that you write in the heat of the moment when you're mad. And she definitely was pissed, and she had every right to be pissed because this guy broke up with her in a fucking 18-second phone call. Yeah. And then the next day was out and about with this other girl. So it's kind of okay, yeah. Yeah.
I'm also pissed. I'm also probably saying things that aren't very PC, if I'm being honest.
But also, I mean, 2000. Yeah. What was that? 2008 when that happened?
Oh, when it happened, 2008. Yeah.
It was 2008. So 2008, we think of the time was, let's bring up the Carter 3 again. Look at how Lil Wayne. We love Lil Wayne, but look at how he was talking about women in the album, and the TV shows that were on was all about one of the big insults on One Tree Hill was calling someone a slut.
Yeah.
or a whore or something like that. Like that was constantly being thrown around. Like Gossip Girl, Serena was getting called a whore all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like all of these things, like that was just
the norm
times.
at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like whether it's right or wrong, you know, and it's obviously wrong. But that's just kind of like our culture at the time was very ingrained in misogyny.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just how we spoke to each other.
Yeah. Which we've evolved.
We have.
Taylor's evolved.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Let's not shame her for that.
No.
Let's not shame her for being pissed off and in a moment writing a rage-filled song. Because it is a song that's called Better Than Revenge. So,
yeah.
Come on, people.
And she's pissed off. So, rightfully so. Rightfully pissed off.
And I think it is very telling, too. Because it's like, it just goes back to, like, karma. And look what you made me do. And all of this stuff. Like, she's like, there's nothing I do better than revenge. And so, like, this is, like, the one song in it where she's like, I'm not going to offer you forgiveness. And this is where we see that, like, spicy Taylor come out and give, like, a little bite. And we're like, ooh, where's this Taylor in the other songs?
And then, surprise, surprise, we're about to get years of this Taylor on down the line.
Which is a lovely Taylor. We love Taylor.
It's my favorite Taylor. We're Reputation girls. We're waiting patiently, impatiently for it to come out.
Impatiently. I love, there's like, someone did like a chart of like, did you see that? Of like the dates of when they suspected Taylor was going to announce Reputation Taylor's version, and they've been crossing it out, and so they crossed out the 8-2, and like they're waiting for the next one.
To see.
Yeah. And people were like, what if she doesn't announce on any of these dates? And they were just like, well, then burn the chart. I don't know. I was like, okay.
If she doesn't, I mean, honestly, what's going to happen is probably there will be no Easter eggs. There will be nothing that points to it, and then boom, it's just going to pop up.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 8/16. I was truly convinced. I was like, Friday, it's happening. It is happening.
You were more convinced than you had been in months.
Yeah. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm like clowning. I'm putting on my clown suit. I've got my live stream going, and I was like, I'm ready. And then crickets. Yeah. As soon as she popped up in, I think it was, I can't remember what color of Speak Now, or not Speak Now, the 1989 outfits, I was like, fuck!
Was it purple?
No.
Was it purple? No.
I can't remember what it was, but I was like, damn it. Not today. I was like, that just gave it away for me, because she wore the green folklore, and I was like, oh, and then nothing. And I was like,
see, I think that she's doing all of it on purpose, though, to point to these red herrings so that she can say there will be no explanation. There was no explanation, just reputation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because the grid was aligned. And like, there's just, okay, Taylor, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. But I always try to think back to, like, in the lyric video for I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, where it's like, and the crowd was chanting more, and it was showing the Reputation set, and I was like,
she's like, everybody shut the hell up. Yeah. So that's why I don't say much about it anymore, because I'm like, you're right. You've already given me the Tortured Poets department, and that was a lot this year. So, and eras.
I mean, she gave us literally like 31 songs. So there's not much more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like rallying up Future is probably really hard in the year of 2024. Because like, where the fuck has he been? I know we put out music last year with Metro Boomin, but like, where's Future? I'm sure she's having a trouble tracking him down.
Can we get a read on Future, please?
Oh my god. After, I mean, Sierra like read him to filth in I Bet. So oof. And if y'all don't know that song, go listen to that song. That shit goes,
it slaps.
As fuck.
It does. We need to have an episode on like 2010s music and artists. It was such a good time. Good time to be alive musically.
It really was. There's this thing on what is that called?
I don't know.
Oh, Fire TV.
Oh,
So like,
yeah.
yeah. So there's a thing that's called Song Quiz,
Yeah.
and I'll just like play that every once in a while. But like for the newer music, you have to like pay money to unlock it.
Which is
Paying
dumb.
money. So I do the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm like, hell yeah, this is lit.
Yeah.
This is fun.
We do it on the Alexa too. Our Alexa has it.
Mm-hmm.
If you just go play Song Quiz and then you pick a decade, and it's so fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it is really fun. I know we usually talk about like some of the accolades.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So Speak Now was ranked 13th on Rolling Stone's Best Albums of 2010. Ooh.
Coincidence? Yeah.
And then the New York Times ranked the album number 2 on the 2010 list. And in 2012, Speak Now appeared on the number 45 on Rolling Stone's list of the 50 best female albums of all time.
Nice. We believe it. We're big Speak Now fans.
Yeah. So it was nominated for Album of the Year at the ACM Awards, the ACA Awards, and in 2011, the CMA Awards. And then at the 2011 Billboard Music Awards, Speak Now was nominated for Top Billboard 200, Top Country Album, and won Favorite Country Album at the 2011 AMA Awards. And at the 54th Grammy Awards in 2012, Speak Now was nominated for Best Country Album, and its single Mean won Best Country Solo Performance and Best Country Song.
Well earned.
And because Mean is like it's another revenge song too. It's kind of like, but it's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like a nice way to like read someone to filth. Like, it's just like, all you're ever going to be is mean.
You're just mean. Yeah.
You're just a mean person. You know, you're going to be washed up and ranting about the same old bitter things. And like, I love how she put it. She sang it at the Grammys and she was like, someday I'm going to be singing this at the Grammys.
And all you're ever going to be is mean.
Yeah, she fucking won.
So,
suck it. Suck it, critics.
Suck it.
Because I think it was part of the critics that were coming at her for like writing and everything, and like, you know, saying that she didn't actually write all of her music and she didn't do this and she didn't do this and blah blah blah. She's like, guess what? I'm going to write an entire album at 19 years old by myself.
Haunted just started playing in my headphones.
Oh my gosh. Why does music just start randomly playing in your headphones?
Every time. I think it's because it connects to my phone and my laptop. So then when I'm like, I mess with my headphone, it like starts playing it. So.
Do you have anything else to say about Speak Now?
No, everyone needs to go listen to it. Everyone needs to go listen now. Version. Yeah, Taylor's version. Listen to the vault tracks.
Yeah, start to finish. That's one thing I really love about Taylor's albums is you can listen to it start to finish and it tells a story. Yeah. So these songs are such storytelling songs. Just go listen to it. Yeah. If you need someone to read a man to filth, you know, just let me know.
Just call Kate.
Oh gosh.
Send us a DM.
Our last album that we'll be talking about.
Folklore.
Folklore, which has the pictures right here. Where,
and it's such a lyrically beautifully done album. So can't wait to finish on Folklore. And it comes back to Joe Alwyn every time. But
oh, literally. Anyway. Okay.
So intentions for the week.
All right. So my intention for the week is to wear my boot every day.
I love that intention. I love it for your torn tendon.
Because I can walk on it, so like it's very like it's odd because like I can walk on it, but I walk with a limp because it hurts.
Yeah. So,
and like after if I walk on it too much, like without the boot especially, oh my god, like by nighttime, it hurts so bad. Which is how I know that like something is not right.
Right.
That's how I knew, because Josh was like skeptical that something was even wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
before I looked at my MRI results. And I was like, I actually think there's something actually wrong with it. Because in the past, my sprained ankle has already healed.
Right.
And this is not healing. Yeah.
So we're going to wear our boot and heal it. Good intention. I'll follow up on that and be like, are you wearing your boot?
I know. It's not hard to keep me in check.
My intention, I would say my intention would be like to get back into the routine of things, but my intention is going to be to be nice to myself and like give myself some slack on that because I'm doing the best that I can to get back into that. So taking small steps and then also just not being super hard on myself. And that.
Be nice to yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to do sometimes, but we're going to do it.
I understand, but you got this.
So do you.
Well, let's go into this week doing the best that we can.
Mm-hmm. Wearing our boots and being nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, don't mess with me while I have my boot on.
She'll be kicking you, causing some bruises with that boot.
Yeah, it hurts. I've kicked myself with it, so on accident.
So this is your fair warning that she will kick you with it.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, well, we love y'all. Yep. And we'll see y'all soon.
For folklore.
All right.
Love you. Bye.